This episode is supported by Battlefoam.com. Hello everybody, in this episode I am joined by the guys from Paranoid Miniatures and they have a bit of a prize to give away. So guys, what do you want to give away on this episode?
We've got two prizes to give away. Each prize consists of 2 faction box sets and 2 rule books.
Okay, so two-player starter bundles?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, well, everybody, for your chance to win, get your comments in on Beasts of War YouTube or Facebook. We'll move on and we'll see you in the show.
Good morning and welcome to The Weekender, your source for all the gaming in the world. I'm of course joined by Ben on the screen, Justin in the chair,
Morning.
and Sam perched on a chair.
Yeah, they gave me a high chair. You know?
We got it raised and everything. We even sit him slightly in front of Justin, so we get that parallaxy kind of.
Yeah,
you know, it's
Tom
what is it
Cruise this.
called? Whenever things
Forced
go-
perspective.
Forced perspective.
I'm still finishing this sentence.
I'm telling you, Justin, you make it look like we know what we're doing, man. Ish. Anyway, in this episode, we have a prize. We actually have 2 prizes that you can win. We're giving away 2 sets of 2 starter factions and rulebooks for the wonderful, the beautiful, the boutique
The creepy.
Mythos. And man, we have a fun competition for you today.
Yeah, this is a good one.
You're going to love it. Okay, look, before we get stuck into all of this,
Yeah.
okay, I feel it.
Oh, it's that time.
I feel it coming on. It's been too long.
Do you feel it in your fingers? Do you feel it in your toes?
It's time for Warren Meets Matt. Oh, how I missed you. I love mats. Have I told you that I love mats?
I'm just going to go over here.
I love mats. Okay, this is Mayhem Square. This is from Game Mat EU.
Yes.
And I'm in a real kind of 40k/30k kind of a mood. The whole release of the Adeptus Custodes is really, really kind of got to me. So I have a beautiful mat to show you. So it's got a lovely chaos symbol in the middle. Lots of blood all over the place.
Because what's a 40k game without plenty of blood?
Exactly.
The cool thing for this is you could use it for 30k, 40k, or Age of Sigmar.
Anything
Why 30k
imperial.
if there's a chaos symbol?
Because the chaos
They were cultists.
chaos had started
Oh, yeah, of
to
course.
formulate at that point. So if you can imagine, what I'm kind of imagining this is it's like Terra, and this is kind of the chaos. There's been a square, and they've started to kind of take it over, and they're putting their chaos symbology and stuff on it, and
Well, this is the thing. At that stage, the people carving that might not even known that it was a Chaos Sigil.
they may not even have known what it was. They may not. Even
If you look at the border around that, you've got
Nice
slightly
script.
Celtic, Nordic
yeah.
border there going on.
It's really nice. Now, obviously, the resolution of the mat. The resolution of the mat is fantastic, actually. If you look at the cobbles, there's almost a 3-dimensional feel of the cobbles. The cobbles are really, really well done on this, and it's a really nice texture. That going in, we have cracks and of various distressing.
Nice oil stains and stuff.
Yeah, which looks great. And then here you start to see where the large cement blocks have broken away, and then underneath you have the roots and soil and stuff like that. Isn't it really good?
It's a really cool design.
Now let's talk about from a macro level about the mat. The mat is broke into squares, which is really kind of good. These days you don't have to guess ranges and stuff like that so much. So it's from that perspective, it's fine. If we were still in the era of guessing ranges, I'd be thinking, well, that makes it a bit easy to guess the range.
Yes, I get what you mean there.
But what is cool about this is your standard kind of city terrain that you can buy to do kind of like ruined cities and stuff tends to come with corners.
Yes.
So
that's
this means you just basically just lay it out on corners, and it just works.
The other thing is you get a real nice sense of scale as to just how big the Imperium builds whenever you see one guy standing in this huge concrete slab that's either been cast or laid in.
Yeah.
I have to laugh though. You say back in the age of guessing ranges, this makes things too easy. Me with my dyscalculia, I'm like, oh, thank goodness that helps with guessing ranges.
No, Right. As a bonus, a Brucey bonus for you, I have a terrain set to show you as well. So this is the Indomitus. What's it?
Indomitus.
Ruined terrain. Indomitus ruined terrain.
Indomitus Aldan.
This is from Bandua, okay, and this is a pre-printed terrain, okay. So pre-painted, pre-printed, it's the same thing. Basically, what it is all this terrain comes exactly colored as you see it. Okay, all of the HDF has a printed side, so all of the textures and stuff are already printed on it. So you get these kind of textures. It's a multi kind of layered type stuff to give it a real 3D effect. So you can see how that kind of just sits on top of that.
It comes with stained glass windows.
They all have stained glass windows. This is a beautiful leaning tower. So if I move that out of the way,
Can't see the stain.
okay.
So I have to go on the inside.
Yeah, if you go in, you might be able to see a stain. If I move Sam out of the way. I was playing around with this earlier on. I actually put some lights inside it.
Yeah, that looks brilliant.
Which I had some spare Christmas lights left over from Christmas. So I put some lights inside it. If you're looking for some terrain and painting is not your thing, okay, so colorizing the terrain is maybe just not something that you're a big fan of, this could be a lifesaver for you. I have one still in the packet if you guys want to see the components.
Let's crack it open.
So this is the ruined trade house, okay? So if I open it up, where did I put my blade? There we go.
Scalpel.
Thank you, nurse. There we go.
I need a snotty hanky just to...
So first thing you have is your instructions. Nice and easy to build. Three basic steps. As you can see, it's all multi-layered. If you look in, I'll bring this over. You can see the various layers all going together. Gives you a nice, heavy piece.
And as you said, you do get that great texture. If you look at some of the cracks on the building, and on the walls,
heavy.
It does. It certainly feels Imperium to me. You know, it has a great kind of Imperiesque kind of feeling. These are your components. So you pop up in a bag. Do you want to pop with that one?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
And even just figuring out what to go with what should be pretty straightforward with this. So that's your base. This would be 3 layers of your wall. So you've got your internal layer with 0 detail. Yeah. And then your 2 outer ones with the details. So you shouldn't really be able to mess this up.
That would effectively then go into the base.
Challenge accepted, Justin.
Yep.
Okay. Let me tweak that a little bit.
Yeah. Now, because of this, I will give you a couple of pieces of advice for gluing this together.
Yeah.
Make sure and smear a nice thin coat of glue. Get the pegs out around the outside of it and just give it a good wipe if you're using PVA. If you're using super glue, try not to go too near the edge because super glue poking out the edges of this stuff will always look awful.
Yeah. And here we have some other bits that kind of go on in places like that or...
Serve as buttresses.
Yeah. So you got your golden bits. And then finally, you got a great little bag of skulls because we know that no terrain is suitable for 40k unless it has a bucket load of skulls. Gents.
I quite like it. I like the mat. I like the terrain. Our 30k space wolves look fantastic on it.
Yep. As soon as I saw it, I thought to myself, some of this and have the new Adeptus Custodes defending this stuff.
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I think that would be proper cool. So the timing of that is pretty darn good from that perspective.
This tower wins the prize for me. It's just so gothic and glorious.
It is cool. Cool.
Whenever I took it out of the box, I actually didn't realise it was leaning. I set it down like that. What? No, you're not sitting right. Why?
You just pack it with toilet roll onto this side here and straighten it up. Or get a little miniature of Superman and have him fly over and straighten it up and then fly off again. There we go. Right. You have been... Oh, there we go. Bubble wrap. Let's just fix that for you, Bandua. Yeah. There we go. You've been watching Warren Meets Matt.
Utterly satisfied. You see, when I don't get on the Weekender, I'll talk to you about it backstage. I 2-timed you for a little blonde last week, but when I don't get onto a Weekender, by about a week later in my head, I have Mick Jagger strutting around in my head, going, "Can't get no satisfaction."
I've got to say, this is my first time being here for a Warren Meets Matt.
Save me.
You loved it, man.
Come on,
You loved it.
that intro though.
Okay, let's get stuck into the meat of what's going on in the industry this week. Ben, can you fire us up and give us some Ben news, please?
Yeah, so there's actually 2 big releases that came out of Games Workshop for the World of Warhammer 40,000, and I guess the Horus Heresy as well. So the first of these was actually, as I say, for the Horus Heresy, and this was for their character series. Now this is the next release for their Primarchs, and this is Rogal Dorn. So anyone who's a massive fan of the Imperial Fists, you've now got yourself a Primarch to play around with on the tabletop. And he's looking pretty awesome. He's looking very imperious, sort of standing there surveying the battlefield as he is, in his sort of gold and yellow armor there with that sword in hand as well. Once again, the amount of detail that goes into these models is absolutely fantastic. They've done a really good job on all the detail work for this guy. I reckon a lot of people are going to be very, very happy with this. So.
I love Rogal Dorn.
Oh, yeah.
I love the fact that he's got, what's the chapter? Night Lords. Night Lords on the base with him.
I imagined him being more yellow, though.
Yeah, I didn't see the gold paint scheme coming.
It's kind of a non-metallic metal gold.
I don't like it.
But
would you rather it was that blinding yellow?
Painting.
What?
Would you rather it was the blinding yellow?
Yes. Yes, I really would. As soon as I saw it, I thought, he looks like one of the Emperor. Or we're going to see a lot of gold now with the Adeptus Custodes. We're going to see a lot of gold. Maybe in the books, it talks about him wearing golden armor or something like that. But
the thing to remember is during the heresy, a lot of the actual chapters would have had slightly different color schemes to what we know today.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
Man,
Little Wolves,
I'm telling you, man. I want to see him painted up like a full-on Flash Bumblebee. You know, I want the proper bright yellow, because you know what? For me, that is the Imperial Fist. That yellow, it just like if you can imagine, right? Let's place ourselves on Terra during the heresy,
yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. This is the point where some smart arse tells me they didn't wear yellow during the heresy. I think they did. Right? But imagine, right? You're able to stand at a safe distance, which in 40K
you would want to.
In 40K terms is probably about 350,000 miles away. But anyway,
a couple of planets away.
Imagine the swarm, and I use the word swarm quite deliberately. The swarm of the Imperial Fists, all on the battlements of Terra, and them rushing out through. A hole has been breached in the walls of Terra, and then this flash of yellow coming out. The yellow is so important to me for Rogal Dorn. Bring it up.
Yeah, it's
that
not exactly stealthy.
It for me it detracted from him. I just think if he'd been in the yellow, I've
got to say, Justin, you say that's not exactly stealthy. He's wearing massive clunky power armor.
Yes.
This guy's not going for stealth.
We're right back.
There are power armored soldiers of the Imperium who are incredibly stealthy.
He's wielding a chainsword.
Yes. I don't think Rogal Dorn cares about stealth, man.
I
think stealth is the last thing.
He is the siege master.
Yes.
He is the guy who builds the defenses for the Emperor.
I think the model is wonderful. I really do love the model. Yeah. But I'm going to sneak into the miniatures hall in Warhammer World with a can of yellow paint.
No. So this does not need to be a thing.
Right. This is exactly what we'll do. We will set out a backstage challenge, right? So any one of us, all we have to do, right, is sneak in, okay, with our can of, nice can of proper yellow primer, okay, but bring up the miniature. We'd be very careful about this, because you want to mask out the base, because they did a really good job on the base. I'm really happy with the base. So anybody that does this,
good too.
So they need to bring masking putty with them.
Yes, bring some masking putty with you, okay? The bits that I like: mask out the sword, mask out the cloak, mask out the tabard or loincloth, as I like to call it.
I assume you're going to mask out the head, because you can't leave the head exposed.
We shall mask the head. And then all we do is just give him a very nice blast of the bright yellow paint, and then bang, that miniature would look perfect. Goodbye, Ben.
He wasn't impressed with this idea.
He wasn't impressed with that, right? So by the powers of TV, let's try and bring Ben back.
Clap your hands 3 times.
I'm back.
And he's back. Right, thank God for that. Okay.
Okay, internet sorcery. Please don't make us do that again.
Okay, so
it's like the Great and Terrible Oz back there.
I would like to take a moment now to officially apologise to the North Korean hacking team that works within Lincoln. We didn't mean about spraying Rogal Dorn yellow. It was just a joke. Okay, so you can stop the denial of service attacks at any point now and leave Ben alone.
I was going to say, would that not leave us liable for inciting someone to actually damage property?
No, we didn't do it. It never happened. It was just a dream.
Yeah.
Stand down, North Korean hacking team within Lenton. We take it all back.
There's someone in Nottingham right now standing up with a spray can ready to go, what?
Yes. Don't do it. They've got our IP address.
I'll tell you what, it was actually probably the Inquisition caught a wind of it.
That's what it was. Okay.
Speaking of the Inquisition.
Speaking of the Inquisition, we have more to look at, don't we?
Yes. There's another new miniature. One of my favourite characters from the 40k universe, Gregor Eisenhorn, one of the great Inquisitors of the 41st millennium, has been turned into a gorgeous miniature.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that lovely?
This was one of my absolute favourite novel stories from Dan Abnett whenever I was first getting into 40k.
Yeah.
Okay, spoilers, Sam, you're listening to it at the minute.
I've just listened to the first one.
Everybody died.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's 40k. That's not the spoiler.
It's actually kind of a Sherlock Holmes in space kind of feel I always got of it.
Mm.
You know, what about yourself, Sam?
I kind of get that feel, yeah. I'll admit, I listened to the first one. I didn't pay much attention to it.
I mean, like, honestly, it's just very cool to see an investigator who's just traveling the stars, hunting down, his arch nemesis for the entire book.
His arch nemesis?
Arch.
Oh, sorry, arch nemesis.
I know I have a list, but come on.
Arch nemesis. That sounds like a scary thing there, now.
No, at the end of it, it turns out, his nemesis just isn't that much of a threat after all. He's just a guy who can just convince people to do bad stuff.
That can be a threat.
What an utter letdown. So it's like that book. It's like that book you told me about. Okay.
What one?
And the Black Library book where it was an Adeptus Custodes, right?
Oh yeah.
And the entire book, he's got to assassinate the emperor to see if it can be done.
Yeah, he's been given this task to actually assess the threat.
Obviously, I'm talking from the perspective of somebody who hasn't read it. It probably is good, but he says, "I said, what's it about?" He says, "Well, basically, the whole book is him sneaking through Terra."
Yeah, no, I think it's a short story if I remember correctly. So it's not a full novel.
All right, okay. He sneaks through Terra, and he gets to the end. He gets into the Emperor's room, and he sneaks up behind the Emperor, and then the Emperor turns around and goes, "Surprise! I knew you were coming, dude." And that was it. And I was sitting going, oh, I thought that would be soul destroying, man.
Yeah, you told us that was a novel. I was thinking that's a good premise for a short story, but really not for a novel.
As a novel, that would be.
It's years ago when I read this.
I'm listening to and reading Dan. Oh, what do you call him?
Abnett?
No, Da Vinci Code guy.
Oh, that.
What do you
Dan
call
Brown.
Dan Brown.
Yeah.
Origin at the moment.
Right.
And the plot of Origin is a scientist has some earth-shattering news. Okay. That is going
That's
to
about half of Dan Brown's books.
That is going to destroy religion and stuff forever. Okay,
that's the other half.
I am almost 3/4 of the way through the book, and I still haven't found out what this flipping earth-shattering news is. So I suspect that this is the bit that they've started with. That he's about to give a presentation of this earth-shattering news. I suppose it's going to be the very last page. I find out what this earth-shattering news is going to be, and I'm just going to go.
There's a book series that I'm actually keeping an eye out for at the minute called Mortal Engines. It's being turned into a movie.
Right.
The whole concept is, I think it's nuclear war has devastated the planet.
As it does.
And to survive, the cities of the world have actually made themselves into rolling, moving cities with big, massive engines and stuff.
Oh,
it's by Philip Pullman, isn't it?
Possibly.
Oh, I love that idea.
There's
rolling cities.
Yeah, so actually, like vehicle cities and larger cities eat smaller cities for resources.
They eat them.
Yeah.
The big jaws open at the front, big massive arms come out, big chains shoot into the cities, drag them in. So slave labor, metal resources, food resources.
London is basically an apex predator.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds insane.
The visuals for the movie trailer look fantastic, but I want to read the book before it comes out, because if I watch the movie and then try and read the book, I won't be fit to do it.
Well, on the topic of epic scaled things, stuff that's just massive, we have news out of Dropzone and Dropfleet. So the guys at TTCombat have just put up for a very limited time the Remnant Centurion Cruiser. It's available until February the 4th, okay? And this is an exclusive that, well, if you don't get it by February the 4th, I believe it will only be available at events through the 2018. Isn't that lovely?
Gorgeous.
It's a fantastic model.
I am so digging that. I think that's really cool.
It kind of feels like a mix of UCM and PHR.
Mm.
But I'm guessing, is that maybe what they're trying to represent with it being
Do you know anything further on this, Ben?
Yeah, so this actually works for both factions. So it was originally drafted into the UCM, and then it's slowly been used by the PHR in the future as well.
Oh.
So it's a ship that works for both factions, which is pretty awesome. And it means they've got some really interesting scope for what they do with other ships in the future. So it'd be very nice to see what they do with the sort of mix of different things, maybe Scourgified ships as well. That could be very cool. So
yeah,
infected ships would be very cool, because they did bring out the Scourge space station upgrade pack a while back there, and it does look really, really nice.
I can't wait to see it in the flesh. Haven't seen it yet. Really looking forward to that.
Definitely.
But it's nice to see some stuff now starting to trickle out again from TTCombat. So
definitely
cool stuff. A big name.
Yeah,
big name.
This is the most exciting piece
was in the news this week. So we've been the excitement has been building here for Hellboy coming out of
Hellboy. I'm so excited! It's Hellboy. This is one of my favorite comic series. It's Hellboy.
Well, I have been absolutely excited about it, but my excitement actually went up a few bloody notches this week when we found out that James M. Hewitt is going to take the. Oh God, they've even got a nice picture of him. Look at that. There he is, his smiley face. Oh, isn't he adorable? Well, he's taken the seat as the lead designer on the project. He runs his own game design business, Needy Cat Games.
Yeah.
So he's been drafted in. So you will know James M. Hewitt from Dreadball Academy.
Come on, do it right.
Dreadball Academy! So we're big fans of James, but his previous credits include Dreadball, Betrayal at Calth, Silver Tar, Gore Chosen, Blood Bowl, and Necromunda. And I'm sure he's got a load of other projects on the way. So we don't have much more to add about that other than our continued excitement to see where Hellboy is going to go.
What I'm wondering is whether the artist and writer of Hellboy, Mike, I don't know if it's pronounced Mignola or Mignola. I really don't know how his name is pronounced. But I want to know if he's going to be producing some new art for it himself, or whether they're just going to use existing pieces of his work.
A lot of it's based on his art already, so I think what they're going to be doing is Mantic are going to be working alongside him to create a lot of the stuff in his image. So I'd imagine most of the miniatures are going to be very similar to his art style, which would be pretty awesome. Maybe he will do some new original pieces as well. That could be pretty cool for like character cards and things like that.
So how much does the comic book diverge from the movies, Sam?
Oh, quite a lot. Yeah. There's a lot more of the comic book after all. There's a lot more going on.
And is the Golden Army and stuff like that in the comic book series?
I honestly can't remember. I haven't. There's only up to a certain point where I've read it. Yeah. Because limited income.
Well, then that's one over to you guys. I'm just curious as to. Because I haven't read the comic books. I will lend you
the ones I have.
I'm a huge fan of the movies. There's another Hellboy movie in production at the moment.
It's a reboot. It's not with Guillermo del Toro or any of the others.
I don't know. I like Del Toro when he does a movie.
My favourite filmmaker.
Yeah, I like it too. However, I'm actually quite pleased it's a reboot because I've been quite enjoying the reboots because I enjoy the fresh look at characters. So rather than it dragging on and on and on, I think the reboot idea has been spot on. So
I
I'm
like
really
the
interested in
of keeping a series running for a long while if you have lots of good stories to tell.
TV's for that now, though.
Yeah, but okay. Here's one for you. Recently, I've been watching Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Right, and it is tying in moments from the movies. So, like Age of Ultron, Civil War. As I'm watching through this TV series, it's tying me back into those movies. And it makes me want to rewatch those movies, so it lets me revisit them. Yeah. And take Age of Ultron, for example. Whenever that helicarrier turns up for S.H.I.E.L.D., in the series you get to see where that came from. In the movie, it's just like, where the hell did this come from? I thought these got destroyed.
But this is my point, is for larger stories, TV's the format for that. TV
most definitely.
Absolutely.
I don't know, I'm liking the blend of both.
So. Yeah, I suppose. Okay.
Hellboy
Ben,
TV show.
What's our last piece of news for today?
So the last piece comes out of the guys at War Cradle. They showed off two new posses that are going to be coming to Wild West Exodus. So here we've got Helena's Infernal Investigators and Wild Bill's Ranger Showboat Posse. Now these guys have actually been previewed a little while ago in video form. So the guys at Warcradle did some really awesome videos where they looked at all the different characters, talked about their concept art and things like that, and it described how they're used on the tabletop and their background and stuff. But this is the first look at them, us seeing it as a whole. So we get to see the proper renders here for some of the characters, and they're looking pretty awesome. I got to say, with the Infernal Investigators, I did quite like the sort of Brave Star nod. It was quite funny to see that. So a little bit of a retro cartoon being thrown into the mix, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, just some more interesting and innovative characters and creations for the world of Wild West Exodus.
Warcradle have utterly run with this IP, haven't they? The modeling, the sculpting on these is just fabulous.
Yeah, I love the character on the far left of this with that just give me a second.
Yeah, she's my favorite too.
I just love the details. These miniatures would practically paint themselves. It has been absolutely brilliant seeing this come together.
You mentioned Brave Star, Ben.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that was a little before. That was an 80s cartoon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Brave Star, even I struggle to remember Brave Star. I remember the Centurions, which were out just before Brave Star. Power Extreme! Do you remember the Centurions?
No. Were they not like 86? That's when I was born. He was a twinkle in his daddy's eye.
Guys, making me right. So the Centurions were these dudes that sported these awesome mustaches, right? They were every one of them had a Freddie Mercury kind of a look, right? Okay. And what they did, they had these suits on, and whenever the shit hit the fan, they would go Power Extreme. And then what happens was they had these kind of holes on their suit that they wore, and then these armored bits would fly in and would connect, and it would go chung, 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 and turn them into like flying kind of power armored dudes that could totally kick ass. I think they'd be great as a tabletop thing.
The oldest cartoon I remember from when I was a kid is Mask, if you remember it. So it was a completely cheesy cartoon show. End of every show you had the morals. The whole idea was there was a secret organization. Each member had a mask with a different power, and they had transforming cars that could turn into like planes, boats, helicopters, things like that. You remember it?
Nope.
The 80s
Brave
were
Star.
trippy.
The 80s were the best. Well, the best cartoons were in the 80s.
Yeah.
I watched
from the
He-Man.
90s. We
I
just
watched
got
He-Man
80s
with my little ones. My Manny just loves He-Man. It's hilarious.
Original or remake?
The original. Okay. He loves the original He-Man cartoons. Okay. We took him for a haircut recently, and totally. So he totally out of the blue, she says, "Well, Manny, what will we do for you today?" Knowing full well, like, you know, she's only asking him just out of lip service, right? And Manny, completely out of the blue, goes, "I want a He-Man haircut with yellow hair." Now, there's an amazing picture of James M. Hewitt, right? If anybody can track it down, there's an amazing picture of James M. Hewitt dressed as Adam before becoming He-Man at a party. Wow. And it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. That picture immediately flashed into my mind, and I couldn't help it. It just slipped out. No!
I did hear recently they're remaking She-Ra.
Oh, they're remaking She-Ra?
Yeah, on Netflix.
Yeah. But let me get back to Brave Star. Ben, I can only vaguely remember Brave Star, but is Brave Star the dude that had strength of a bear, speed of a puma? Yes? Now it's
and then he had the mechanical horse that turned into the badass horse with the rifle and stuff, yeah.
Oh yeah, the horse became kind of bipedal, didn't it? And started to walk around. Bring up the picture. It's all gonna start coming back to you now.
I kind of remember that saying, the strength of a bear thing.
Strength of a bear, speed of a puma. So he had all these powers that he could call upon.
This sounds amazing.
It's
very cool.
It's awesome.
Meanwhile, in the 90s, we had Cowboys of Moon Mesa. Thanks, 90s.
Less said about that, the better.
Although we did have Planet Wars, which was pretty fun.
Okay.
You need to watch Conan the Adventurer. That was the best 90s cartoon. Amazing. Yeah.
They're all out now.
Was that not 80s?
No, it was early 90s.
Sorry, best 90s cartoon, by far, Batman the Animated Series.
That is also a pretty good shout, actually.
Yeah, and then Sam gets all serious on us and actually comes out with a properly good cartoon. Okay, that wraps us up for the news, okay? Next up, We have one of the chaps from Mythos in.
Two of the guys from Mythos.
Two of the chaps from Mythos.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I can remember the names, it's Mark and Dom came across. You may have seen recently we did a Let's Play with the guys to show off how the game of Mythos plays, but I wanted to get a bit of a sit-down chat with them to actually delve a little deeper into this dark and creepy world.
Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Dropzone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com. Greek mythology rages to life in Mythic Battles Pantheon. Become a god and command heroes and monsters in a battle for Olympus at beastsofwar.com.
Hi everybody, I have been joined by Mark and Dom from Paranoid Miniatures, and obviously we have the guys over doing some filming, and so I want to get a sit-down chat to actually see how things are going with Mythos, which is your game.
Yes.
So, you had the Kickstarter. What's happening?
Wow. Well, yeah, we had the Kickstarter. We had a year's worth of production and putting things together, the character artwork, the sculptors, everything. So those 12 months went really quick. We managed to deliver on time in full to people.
So everybody who backed is now got it?
Everybody who backed has now got it.
So that's during the Kickstarter and backer kits?
Yeah, everything.
Lovely.
All delivered. We said May time for delivery, which is what we did. Tail end of May we got to. And we managed to squeeze a freebie in there for people as well. Managed to give them a free physical rulebook, which we spent some time designing and putting together. So we wanted people to have a physical copy of the rulebook to get them started. So.
That's fantastic. Now, you see, this is one thing so many people don't consider whenever they think, oh, I'll go do a Kickstarter. Whenever you actually start planning out your Kickstarter, you are estimating for everything.
Yeah.
It's that thing. You guys were nicely far ahead whenever you first came to us with Mythos to actually do some videos and chat about.
Yeah.
And seeing where it came to now, I am so happy. The miniatures are absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. So, how exactly did you guys do your Kickstarter? Because I know you ran your main campaign, but then you actually did you opened up like a backer kit afterwards. Now, how did that work for you?
Yeah, we had a number of stretch goals that we unfortunately didn't get to, but we used backer kit as a vehicle to unlock one of our sort of other factions, which was the Order. So we got to a certain money through backer kit, and we said to everybody, right, we've done really well, so we're going to unlock the Order and put those into the mix for people to pledge on as well.
You see, there's an idea I like, that even though the Kickstarter campaign was over, you guys were happy to actually, keep the stretch goals running for the people who were jumping in late. It's a really nice touch.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the Order do look beautiful. Yeah, we have some of them on the tabletop here. I'm going to grab one of them.
Yeah.
I know these guys are very new, so are they named? They're all named.
Yeah, they're all named. So who you've got there is Chester, who's the leader. Who's effectively in our game controlled by a demon called Chronozon.
Oh dear. I was wondering what was going on here, and then I saw this big skull creature rearing up out of his back.
Yeah.
The details are gorgeous. I love the way you've actually got the blend where the demon's coming out from the kit, because that's one thing that's not easy to do, is actually merge the two, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you can. We had a guy called James Kahn who sculpted these for us, and you can tell when a sculptor really gets into a project, really loves the brief they've been given, and I think that sort of transposes into the models that they're finally produced.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm getting such like a Dorian Gray vibe off this guy. Is that the sort of character we're talking about?
I think certainly from the artwork, it just got sort of echoes of Dorian Gray, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the faction, these are essentially like manhunters within the world?
Yes, they wield man catchers, so the idea in the game, these guys can latch onto your enemies and they hold them in place, and your other models get bonuses against the models they're attacking.
I see. So basically, they hook him, and these guys stab him.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, those ones you got there are female.
I see.
Yeah, they're twins effectively. John and Jane Talbot and Elizabeth and Edward. Elizabeth and Edward Talbot and John and Jane Wilde.
I see. They're lovely, and they have a real sort of shadow society feel to them, just with the masked faces.
We couldn't go into doing a sort of Lovecraftian inspired game without doing cultists. That was a bit of a shoe-in for us, really, to be honest.
I mean, like your sculptors have done a fantastic job. Now, these were all CAD designed, yeah?
Yes,
all digitally designed?
Everything we've done has been 3D designed.
Mm-hmm. And Now, this is the thing. Was there a specific reason you guys wanted to go down the 3D route?
Yeah, it was a decision we took early on. We decided to go digital rather than traditional, just for ease of posability. And it was definitely something that we discussed and decided as a group that that was the way we wanted to go. Certainly with the kind of evolution of 3D printing now as well, technology's moving on.
Oh yeah, some of the 3D print stuff you see these days is absolutely crazy. I mean, I've seen one where it's literally, you have the bath of material, it fires a laser into it in the shape of it, and then it just draws it out. And it's, what? What sorcery?
Star Trek.
Well, yeah, they use it to print parts on like the International Space Station, all kinds of stuff now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, the game is now full retail.
Yes.
So anybody that wants to actually grab some of the miniatures can jump onto your website.
Yep, jump onto our website. Yep.
And just pick them up. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's all on our online store. Every model you see here on the table here is up for sale. We're doing obviously faction sets,
of course,
but you can buy them individually as well if you want to.
You see, this is the thing. As well as being great characters for your game, because each faction is so characterful, you could use them for role-playing minis very, very easily.
Yeah, we have when we go to shows, we have a lot of people that will pick up sort of, but we haven't actually sold at retail at shows yet because we're concentrating on giving to our Kickstarter backers first.
That's a good plan.
Yeah, but we've been to shows and we've been showing off the models. But yeah, there's been a lot of comments about people wanting to pick up individual ones for role playing and other game systems.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if you pass me the big bug, the Crypt Guardian.
Yeah.
The last time you guys were across, we only got to see these in sort of art format.
Yeah.
So this will be like the first time I've actually been able to hold and look at these under camera for everybody at home.
Yeah.
This beastie is huge. And the way it is actually translated from the artwork to the 3D render and then to the actual miniature, it's one of the most faithful transitions I've ever seen actually been done. And on the tabletop, I can't wait to see what these things actually do.
Talking, from a sort of 3D CAD design perspective, the Guardian's probably a classic example of why we chose the route we did, because the initial model that we had to do a little bit of work on producing sort of more stability in the model. So with using the CAD design, that was quite easy to go back to the sculptor to say, right, we just need a few minor adjustments, and it's resulted in a very stable model. So yeah, traditional sculpting that would still have been possible, but the process would have been a bit more difficult.
Rescaling as well is a major thing.
Yeah,
so you can make bigger or smaller.
Yeah.
I suppose if you get your initial 3D print out and you look at it and go, he's a little bit small, let's blow that up a bit. I want it bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger.
Which is what we did with the goat as well.
Yeah, really? Oh, the goat. Yeah, so this is the myth for the Wildborn faction, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
Right, I'm still getting used to this. So here he is here, and oh my god. What creates this?
That was Dom's mind that created that.
Okay.
So within the kind of fluff and background of the game, he's a combination of a beast and a human. So he started off as a boy, he fell down, snapped his leg, and then he got kind of possessed and he came out of the cave as this kind of beast.
Oh, back up. So this guy went exploring in the wilderness, decides to go into a cave.
Yeah.
Falls down a shaft, breaks the leg.
And then, changes start happening. There's obviously some kind of falling into some old ruins that he shouldn't have, and he gets a little bit warped and changed.
A little bit?
Yeah.
You call this a little bit? I would love to see you do a lot.
Well,
with the Wildborn, the premise is there sort of blends of human and various animals as well.
Well, the perfect one to show this off is this character right here. So who is this?
This is Lauren. So she's a blend of a goat and a human.
Right.
And she's one of the fastest models in the game, actually. The Wildborn are quite speedy as a faction. She's the epitome of that.
Well, this is the thing, and the way her weapon, is that like a chain blade she's running around with?
Yes, yeah.
God, imagining that just flying at your head. The Wildborn are a very cool faction. Who else do we have on the tabletop here?
We've got the Priory, which are right in front of you there. I think they're your favourites so far.
Indeed.
And these ones actually we've had painted up by a guy called Scott Hockley, who painted up for us.
Okay, so in other words, don't break these, John. So here we have Maharal, Now, this was one of the things that really, really drew me to the Priori faction. The idea that this ancient Egyptian golem has been reawoken and brought back to actual service by the leader of the faction.
Yeah, I mean, in our lore, Professor Lazarus has a sort of altered golem spell, because golems are usually obviously mud and clay. He's actually given a spell that will be able to produce a sand golem effectively that he can control.
And then, is this essentially an Egyptian spirit that he is bound to this? Have I got the fluff slightly wrong here?
He is a mindless golem,
right?
Controlled, by the Professor, and others in the faction can have a limited amount of control over him as well. But his affinities with the Professor. But so I wouldn't say there was any spirit inside him, but he is. He's a sort of an extension of the Prof's will, effectively.
Right, gameplay wise. Because this is one of the things that I have learned to love this week having you guys in. We've actually got a couple of demo games in the can.
Yeah.
I have loved this system. This is one of the cleanest systems I have played in a long time. And I don't say that lightly because I've been playing lots of games recently. You all know this. Everything is baked into your cards. There is no flicking through that rulebook. Once you know the main mechanics, you just learn your cards and go. That is such a great thing for me, because the game gets out of its own way. And I'm wondering, is that what you were aiming for?
Definitely, from the start, we wanted something where we've played a lot of games where, like you say, you end up flicking through the rulebook, looking for keywords and various other things. We wanted everything on the table in front of you, so you can reference all of your models, see all of their abilities, and just play.
Now, there are some unique mechanics that you guys have thrown in, though. So, what for yourselves? What would be your personal favorite mechanics that are in the game? Because you guys are the guys who have created this.
I think it would probably. I'd preempt it by saying that it's a shout out to Stu, who's one of the guys in Paranoid Miniatures, who you have one of those light bulb moments as companies, and ours was way back when we first started, and we were talking about sanity, insanity, and how to bring it into the game.
And we knew dealing with sort of Cthulhu.
Absolutely,
stuff, so
we had to have that, some sort of mechanic that would reflect that, and we'd all played games before using cards, etc. And Stu just said, well, why don't we just have a flip where the character changes on the other side. So
let me get this straight for everybody at home. So the character cards are double-sided.
Yep.
Stats are on both sides, but one side is, this is me normal, this is me at the start of the fight, I am seeing, I am ready for war. And then you'll hit a turning point for that particular character, and it's just like, whoop, and now I'm a bit wibbly. Okay. And what exactly did that allow you guys to do for the actual game? What does that sort of show off during the gameplay?
So it's individual. So every model has a different way of flipping. So you've got a lot of the normal humans will flip when they reach a certain level of sanity, and they will either go mad or there'll be some explosive effect. So like the Professor, for example, he puts out an arcane explosion and hits everyone.
Yeah, I'm playing with that mechanic, trying to be sneaky with it.
And then you've also got other models which can flip at will or on various other triggers. So we've treated each model as an individual, and they have different ways of flipping. So we've used it in quite unique ways throughout the factions.
Currently, for the missions that are in the book, you're normally going to have 5 to 6 miniatures aside, so you don't really have to worry about masses and masses of stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
For me, one of the great mechanics is the actual 2d6 system that you guys use, because you have your offensive and your defensive stat, and then you're just rolling 2d6, add the lot together, and then it's the difference is actually what the scale is on for a lot of things for your tests that are opposed. And that just makes life so much easier, because it's not, okay, I'm going to roll, I'm going to roll, I'm going to roll, you're going to roll, I'm going to roll, and nothing happened.
It's all baked into effectively 2 roles, your role and my role. And then like you say, it's the difference in the final totals, which is the amount of wounds. We spent a lot of time working through each of the characters, making sure that the wound levels were going to be reflective of each character. We've all played games where you can get those sort of one-shot kills. And great that they are for being on the sort of the giving end of that, but on the receiving end, if you've literally just put a model down on the table and 5 seconds later you're taking it off again.
Well, if it's that day that you've went to your mates or down to the club and it's just like, haha, I have bought my new super weapon. No, it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. It blew up. What? Oh.
There are possibilities. The mechanics allow for if a high spike of a 6/6, for example, against a low 1/1.
Yeah.
Then it's always going to be bad times. But generally speaking,
that's more of a thematic thing whenever you're doing that, because it's that moment where your guy has went into combat, he's rolled 1s, and the opponent has just been waiting for him going, oh, you slipped up.
Yeah.
Winding up, winding up, and good night.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't feel bad. There's no negative gameplay with that. If a person's rolled a 6/6, you roll a 1/1, hey, that's the dice, and move on to the next activation.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I've noticed from the games we've played is I always feel like I have tactical options.
Yeah.
I don't feel locked into any of my choices. I can always go, let's maybe change what I'm doing there. That needs reinforcement there. Let's go.
Yeah, and I think, like you said earlier, the key is, we've only sort of working with 5 or so characters. You play a few games and you start to see how the levels can build up and the depth of the games. Each of the factions have a sort of running theme through them. The Priory, for example, have a sort of a teamwork ethos, so a lot of their abilities affect board wide, whereas Dom's is a sort of blood magic and having to take wounds to do additional things.
That's the Wildborn.
Oh, sorry, the Wildborn. Yeah.
Blood magic.
I assume you're a Wildborn player then?
Yes. Yeah, I designed. This is the faction that I designed.
I see.
Yeah, when we were building the game, each of us
took one to work on
faction.
Yeah. All right, for yourself then.
Mine was a Priory.
Oh, thank you. My hero. Now, the other thing is, the way you've done your cards, you've actually done them a little bigger, which I like, and then actually kept all your wound tracking and stuff off on a separate card.
Yes.
It keeps the board clean.
Yeah.
You're not having tokens and status effects lying here, there, and everywhere that can be forgot. It's just mark it on your card, and whenever the effect happens, wipe it off the card and take whatever damage or effect it is.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted the Mythos is a narrative game, where you want people to play storylines, and we'll come on to sort of campaigns and stuff later on, but we wanted people to sort of really get as immersed as they can in the world, and having tokens for us personally it just takes a little bit of that narrative away, and having a nice clean tracking system which your opponent can see from across the board.
Yeah,
it's easy to track conditions.
Yeah, and if you notice you've done something slightly wrong, instead of having to say should that marker be there, you can just say, whoops, I actually forgot to wipe this off last turn.
Yeah.
Let's just clean that up now.
Yeah. No, it's a dab system. You can use the cards we've designed are sort of standard card size, so you can get plenty of sleeves for them. So you can just dab on and wipe off it as you want.
Yeah, it also means that on the opposite side you're able to just flip it and have a list of the status effects. So, I'm not sure what that is. Flip. Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure as well that we gave people as much ability to on the table to do that. So, like you say, on the back of the tracker card, there's a list of all the conditions and a brief of what they do.
Yeah, and the last standout mechanic for me is that once a character actually has passed their sanity threshold, they're starting to roll on a table to see how they're reacting to the horrifying things that are happening on the tabletop.
Yeah.
And that can be anything from, I don't care, I have a job to do, right up to, hell with this, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Right, now, one thing I want to talk about is sort of your hopes and dreams for the future, where you guys want to take Mythos now that it's out there in the wild and people can lay their hands on it.
Yeah.
So, honestly, if you went crazy and you got your absolute dream for Mythos, what would happen?
Right, so we've already got the artwork for 2 additional factions that have been produced. So we're looking to just sculpt the models for those and get more factions out there. We're also looking at additional models for the existing factions. We're also playtesting and producing at the moment a campaign system. The Sea Queen campaign, which is part of the Kickstarter that we're working through. Currently in playtesting, we've got a Facebook group that people can join and test the game. We're posting stuff in there, so if they want to get involved and give us some feedback, they're welcome to join us.
Okay, let's break this down a little bit. So, first thing you want to do is make new factions, and expand your current factions.
Yeah.
Would you consider going back to Kickstarter to do that?
It's something we're having discussions about at the moment, actually. Absolutely. The two factions that we've got character artwork for are the Brotherhood and the Travellers, and people might well have seen those. We've shown them off.
Yeah, we've had you on before showing those off.
The Brotherhood, I would say, are more advanced in regards to rules. We've got all of the artwork done, and they are sort of the police faction of Providence, where the game is set. But there's a bit of a twist to them, and they're Wendigos as well.
Oh, so they can transform?
Yeah, they can transform. Some have transformed and can't transform back. Some can transform at will. But basically, they keep people safe and there's stability there. But the price of that is that if you're sort of a less savoury citizen, then you might well find being eaten by them effectively.
Well,
you commit the crime, and then you got to do the time.
Well, in his belly.
In his belly, yeah.
This is the thing. If you're eating all the criminals, no more criminals.
Yeah.
This seems like a perfectly legitimate legal system.
Yeah. And the Travellers are a sort of Carney, Romany type faction that are going to bring a lot of colour to our world in all the bright colours of the carnival, and their main theme is all about curses and that sort of stuff.
That sounds interesting to me.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing you had mentioned is a campaign that you're working on at the moment. Now, is this something you had already ran a Kickstarter for, or was it part of the original Kickstarter?
No, it's part of the original Kickstarter. We wanted to give people, we said to people we wanted the game to have campaigns in it and sort of, moving characters on as well in regards to, potential sort of a bit of an RPG feel to it. So we're trying to, currently working on that at the moment. And as Dom mentioned, we've got a Facebook testing group, which we just posted up recently, the first scenario for that, which is the Sea Queen, effectively landfall for the Sea Queen.
And you have the Sea Queen as a miniature.
We do.
Now, is she on the web store, or is she like a show exclusive?
No, she's on the web store. You can purchase her. The only exclusive model we've got is the Cultist Leader, which we are going to, we will be selling at shows. And if people can't get to shows, which I appreciate they can't, we will be selling them on the website.
During the shows?
During the shows, yeah.
Okay, very cool. Very cool.
In regards to sort of the Travellers and the Brotherhood, we're considering Kickstarter for that. We could do it via retail, and build up the money to get the factions produced. But if people want us to bring that timeline forward, if they want it now, for example, then.
Oh, hang on. It's 2017. We all want it right now.
Then it'd be interesting to hear people's comments on which way they think that it would be beneficial.
The way I would look at it is you can go down the Kickstarter route. Definitely a great idea. Definitely a great platform to actually take those quantum leap forwards to actually get stuff down on the table. If you're going down the retail route, one suggestion I might make is perhaps release miniatures at a slower rate.
Yeah.
Have them as like mercenaries that can drop into the factions, and then once the faction is all out there, you essentially do a story campaign that's saying, okay, they're now all ready to play as their faction, and here you go. So you can do it either way.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how people feel about going back to Kickstarter to jump ahead, or taking that slow-paced build-up.
Yeah. I mean, we've only been released now for a couple of months, and we want to make sure that as well as looking at new factions on the horizon, we also want to look at expanding existing factions as well, so that people then have choices that they can have when they come to scenarios.
Now, here's a question for you. Whenever people are playing the game, I'm assuming you're probably going to say avoid just always playing kill each other missions. Actually pick some cool scenarios, because they'll add some extra rules and stuff to the game, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, from the demo games that you've had, we played 2 particular scenarios that weren't just go across the board and kill each other. There is that scenario one in there that if people just want to rock up and play a killy mission, and that's an ideal one for people to learn the mechanics and things like that. But the scenarios on from that are all a little bit more nuanced and more tactical, and tell a bit more of a story.
All right, is that everything, gents?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you guys here this week.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You've created a great game. It's worth people actually taking a look at. If this is one that has been on your radar and you haven't actually had the chance to look at yet, you don't have a huge amount of work to do to get into the game, and once you're in the game, it is going to let you tell some great stories. So, things to do here. Get your comments in below. Tell us, which of the factions do you like? Is this a game that you've jumped in on? Are you looking forward to the Sea Queen campaign? And do you think the guys should go retail, or do you maybe think another Kickstarter is due to actually bring out more factions for the game? So we will move on here, and we will see you in the next one.
Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastsofwar.com. From Viking halls to the cities of the future, terrain buffs will love our foreground hub. Watch gaming tables of all genres come to life at beastsofwar.com.
I have to admit, I just wanted to play more of that. I love the insanity mechanic that they've built into the game, where just at some point through the game, your character's going to flip the card, the abilities are going to change, the stats are going to change, and they're going to go a bit wibbly. Yeah,
it's the Lovecraftian aspect of it is wonderful, and I love the characterization. It is a beautiful boutique game. It's just really, really beautiful. Yeah. And I got to play it some time ago.
Yes.
And the rules have streamlined since then. But I
do have good news for people out there. I have very good news for people out there. This year at Salute, I believe the guys will have their stand set up, and this will be the first year they will have retail product for sale at the event. So if you have been looking at it going, I want to get it, and turning up to the stand playing the game at Salute, because the number of times I spoke to Gaz and he says, everybody who's demoing it wants to buy it. And I feel so heartbroken at Salute whenever we don't have minis and goodies to actually sell to them. Yeah. So this year, get across to the Paranoid Miniature stand.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Right. Kickstarters. Ben, what is going on in Kickstarter world? Actually, before you get started, I know what's going on in Kickstarter world because I have one to show you.
Oh?
Check out this bad boy here.
It's so pretty.
So this is the Army Box battle counter, okay? Now, do you have the Kickstarter there, Justin? We can bring it up.
I do have the Kickstarter. Of course I have the Kickstarter.
So this is this is for 40k players, okay? And it is basically a box of goodies for anybody that plays their 40k, right? Now, I know what you're thinking. Because I thought too. Why? What's the point? But trust me. When you start playing with this, right? So let me bring it up. So this is it here, okay? It is one of those products that is just totally unnecessary, but in an amazingly brilliant way. So what you have is you have all of these lovely little dials. And I cannot help but feel like the guy out of the time machine every time I touch one of these dials. So we have your command points. This is player one over on this half, okay? So you have your command points tracker there. You have your victory points trackers here. And you just spin it all around. Oh, it's just so cool! Over on this side, you have, these are little locks that actually keep this front panel in the actual box itself. You then can turn on whether you're doing Line Breaker, Warlord, or First Blood.
Yeah, if you've achieved it.
And then here's your turn counter right in the middle that tracks all of the turns, and then the same for the second player. This was enough for me. The moment I got to play with this, I was going, oh God, I love it! I love it!
We should say we had to take this off of Warren. Because he was playing with it while we were trying to set up the game.
Here's the thing. I'm just going to take the lid if we ever have to go on a plane and just hang it in front of the seat in front of him.
Oh, yeah. That playing with that will keep me occupied for hours.
Give him that and a pair of Biggles glasses. Hey.
So, let me crack open the box. So, you undo the locks. Right? I cannot help, but every time I touch a dial, I just want to go... Okay, you can then remove the lid, and it brings up even more goodies inside. So inside, you have this lovely, lovely life counter, okay? So you can keep track of your lives on that. Underneath that, you then start to get your tokens, and then you have your compartments for other tokens, and you even have little lifty out bits. It's just so well thought out! Then, if you lift that out, you even have a dice tray with a nice felt piece in there as well.
I love the fact that they've even went to the bother that on the side of it, they've actually engraved a window detail.
Yes, I can actually show you that. So here we have your kind of 40k-esque Gothic windows, which is nice. You know, it's little details. It is little details.
It does mark it out well. It's got that nice Gothic feel to it.
Look, here's the thing, right? You're gonna play 40k with your mates. You need something to carry all your paraphernalia in anyway. There it is. And you pop it all in, and then not only that, but at the end of it, you have this beautiful. I just think I love the intricateness of it, and the fact it just sits there. Do you know what? I don't know. I look at this, and with the little copper or with the little brass screws and stuff, I'm very tempted to leave it as it is. But if you did want to paint it, it could look like this. I would say, though, if I were painting it, my trusty can of yellow paint would come back out. I would go all Imperial Fists on this again, because you can just imagine this being a control panel somewhere in Terra, on a door, in your dorm.
So that nice heavy Imperial Fist.
Imperial air conditioning, Ben. Imperial air conditioning. I love it.
So one to hand to John for later then.
It's just I love all of this kind of stuff. You know, this is it's just so nice. It's just so nice. I think it would be great to have that on the table.
There's a little something for you, one. See, if you look in this gap here, you can actually see that between the layers, they've actually put a little bit of felt.
Yeah.
So that it actually turns nice and smooth.
Oh, that is smart.
That's just a nice little quality touch.
That is smart. Because that was one of the things that I was wondering about as I was playing with it was, how did they get everything, all of the mechanics of it to work just so nicely? Because everything just spins and moves really, really smoothly. Yeah, if you're into your 40k, head on over to bring up the Kickstarter there. Go and check them out. It's scroll up to the top. What are we looking at here? How many days is left?
Oh, it's got quite a few things, like 22. And they are fully funded.
Okay, fully funded.
24 days.
Yeah, 24 days left. Well, 22 by the time you've watched this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely.
I was going to say as well, that it comes in the wood, but you can also get a plastic version as well, so an acrylic plastic set, which comes with yellow sort of detailing on it. And it encouragingly as well, when you look at the project, it also said that it comes with the 40k cover, so they're probably going to be planning to do a lot more with this in the future, making things for other games as well. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do in the future with this one.
Yeah, I think it's such a sexy little product. That I really,
it's a nice little management tool.
Yeah, loved it.
One downside to it, if you get this out, you'll spend more time playing with this than you will the actual game.
There is the danger of that. There is the danger of your opponent slapping you in the hand, going, "Stop fiddling! Stop fiddling!" But yeah, it is very cool. Okay, we have a Kickstarter update, Ben.
Yeah, so this is an update actually for the World of Hate. Now, obviously, they're coming towards the sort of final couple of days for their Kickstarter at the moment.
Yeah.
And they've unlocked a new optional buy, a sort of a little bit of an add-on for it. And this is the Tribe of Vornash. Now, these guys are the dragon people from the World of Hate, which was designed by Adrian Smith. And these are a little bit of a fan favorite for fans of the graphic novel.
Yeah.
These kind of creatures are a little bit different from the other tribes in Hate, so much that they're kind of more sort of focused around the idea of hunting and sneaking around and laying traps.
Yeah.
So they come with their own mechanics, allow them to put down new different tiles into the tabletop. And when you flip them over, some of them have got rewards on them, but some of them actually have traps on the other side which sort of pin your men in place so they can get ripped apart by these reptilian dragon people as well.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the models are looking absolutely fantastic in their resin at the moment here. And they've had a nice little paint job as well. I think the ones that you're seeing here are actually done by RNE Studios. So everybody knows those guys. They've done some really good jobs here. But yeah, a interesting new tribe for you to pick up for the Hate campaign.
Go to the next one, Justin.
This is your favorite?
That is my absolute favorite. That dragon guy. Cool. It's the mouth. It's the fact the mouth is wide open. I love that. Because you can just imagine the bellow of that. It doesn't really matter what the rest of the miniature's actually doing in that. The facial expression with the mouth open, just it exudes so much rage, so much. I
hate.
love it. Yeah, so much hate. I love it. I absolutely love it.
If you're working from something like a graphic novel, you can exaggerate those facial features and stuff.
Yeah.
I love this one with an actual human skull inlaid just as an ornament on top of the helmet.
Yeah, that
Very
looks
cool stuff.
absolutely fabulous.
Well, the thing that I quite liked about these as well when I saw them is that they've clearly got that slight inspiration from sort of lizard men from Warhammer Fantasy and that sort of Aztec Mayan thing going on, but then they've elevated it to an entirely new aesthetic as well. So they've got the nice touch and sort of like a callback to Adrian Smith's work, when he used to do artwork for Games Workshop, but then he's done his own thing as well and, gone in a very different direction. So it's a little bit like Dragonborn, but with a new spin on it.
Now, if anybody wants to get in on that, they'd need to be quick, wouldn't they? Because Hate is wrapping up any day now.
Yeah, it's got a couple of days left on the campaign.
Yeah, so if you're interested in that, don't delay. Get stuck into that before that Kickstarter closes, because you might want to even go in for a low pledge and then up it in pledge managers or whatever kind of thing that they do. Right, we have a board game.
Yes.
To close us out before we start talking about competitions. Ben, talk us through it.
Yeah, so this is Endeavour, Age of Sail. This is by Burnt Island Games, and this is a sort of new edition of the game that came off sort of an upgrade over the original. This plays with between 2 to 5 players, and it plays in about 60 minutes as well. And the whole idea of it is that you start out as one of the large nations during the period of sort of exploration, setting out into the new world to discover new places and lay your claim on them. So what you'll do to begin with is you'll start in Europe, and you'll sort of build up your shipping empire, build your villages and your towns and your docks and all this kind of things, and then you'll set out into the world and you'll uncover new tiles as you go, exploring them, taking their resources, settling them potentially as well, and colonizing the new world as well. It's kind of based on a lot of ideas that are sort of circulating around Euro games, so it involves a lot of different mechanics, including area control. You've got resource collection in there as well. It's got engine building thrown into the mix at the same time, and then a little bit of action management as well. So it's got a lot of mechanics that a lot of people that play a lot of Euro games will be very familiar with. But then it's got this really nice sort of almost random feel to it, where every time you go out, these new locations are going to be random. They're going to be revealing on the map at the same time, and sort of throwing a little bit of a spanner into the works with your plans as well, potentially, which I thought was really cool. One of the big things that they've done for this to sort of jazz it up for the new edition is they've added in this mechanic called exploits. Now, exploits are sort of randomly generated objectives that you get at the start of the game. So instead of you all focusing on the same victory conditions every time you play, you'll have new historically inspired events that will happen as you're playing. So maybe, for example, you could have something about the Spanish Armada, or you could have something about the settling of the Americas and stuff with the Spanish going over there, or maybe the Dutch and stuff. And each of these will have their own objectives based into them. So once you complete those objectives, you'll get new victory points, and every player has maybe 3 of these each. So you'll have loads of different things that you can do to try and achieve victory, and it'll sort of take you in a new direction when you play each time, to sort of focus on different aspects of the game as well, which I thought was really cool.
I love that, because that smacks loosely a little bit like the vibe that I got from Twilight Struggle. Now, in Twilight Struggle, I wish there were more games like this, to be honest. So in Twilight Struggle, you're playing the board game, but as you play, you're lifting event cards, okay?
Yeah.
And these event cards are based on real-life events that take place during the Cold War, which Twilight Struggle is based upon. I love historical games that start to do that. Now, it's harder to make it because it requires a ton more research and then the game mechanics to do it. But imagine how much fun, in the family and stuff like that. You get together, you've got your kids and whatever around the table, and they're maybe a little bit older, but not only are they playing a game, but they're learning about the world and history as it plays out.
I am dying to play this game now. I really like the age of exploration, this time period, and pirates. As a young kid, I've said this before, one of my favourite books was Captain Blood by Raphael Sabatini. It just blew my mind to this world of swashbuckling adventure.
Yeah.
So anything in that naval setting, that sort of world, I want to see more of. I want to experience more of and find out the real world.
I would have thought you've been staring at navels all day long. I'm sorry, Sam. I can't resist.
Well, for myself, this one looks fun. I'll give it that. But whenever I think high seas adventures, I want more Pirates of the Caribbean, less Master and Commander.
No, Master and Commander was a great movie.
No, it's a great movie, but whenever I think pirates, I basically want to imagine myself as Jack Sparrow on the Black
No,
Ball.
whenever I think pirates, I think Firelock Games, Blood and Plunder.
But I can still get that feeling flavour from it.
Yeah, but Blood and Plunder changed. I was like you once.
I was a young man once. Back in my day.
I was where you were, and then Firelock Games changed everything for me on that, because I was in the point where pirates had to be almost like cartoony.
Or fantasy, yeah.
They had to have that
larger than life personality or something.
But whenever
romanticized.
Yeah, it was the romanticized aspect of it. But then whenever Blood and Plunder came out, and if you're into your pirates and you haven't checked out Blood and Plunder,
worth a look.
Good God, go and check it out. It's incredible. But whenever Blood and Plunder came out, and we got to spend some time learning about the real pirates, that old adage came to pass again. That the real life was far more interesting than anything that could ever be made up. And it's incredible. That game is the definitive thing for pirates for me now, and it's my go-to for anything like that.
I mean, you guys know how much I love fantasy over historical. Pirates are the exception.
Mm-hmm.
I love the historical pirates and the golden age of piracy. Although this game isn't pirate focused, I know.
Yeah.
We need to get Sam a game of Blood and Plunder.
We absolutely do. We absolutely do. Right, if you're interested in Endeavour Age of Sail, there's I think 26 days left on that. 2 to 5 players, 60-minute game. And by the sounds of it, you might pick up a nugget or two of information. It's an incredible system. As Ben says, it's kind of been there before, but this is kind of a major update of the whole thing. So definitely worth checking out. Right, competitions. Okay, yes. We're giving away from last week 2 player starter kit winners.
Well, it's a 2-player starter kit for a winner for the Lightseekers.
Okay.
Which is a fantastic card game that we've been learning to play here in the office.
You were okay. So talk us through. What was the competition then?
All right. The competition was very simple. So in Lightseekers, there are 6 what they call orders. So 6 factions.
Mm-hmm.
We challenged everybody out there to come up with their own brand new faction with the elements that faction would use and a hero name to actually go along with a starter deck.
Yep.
So our winner, do you want to read it out?
Yeah. Can I read this now?
Yeah.
It's Raquel Penguin. Okay.
Is that not Rachel?
No, that's Del Boy. I'm Del Boy. It's Raquel. Raquel Penguin. Okay. And let's keep it classy, Justin.
All right. Oh crap! I just realised I'm Rodney.
All right, Dave.
No, that would make you trigger.
The order you're gonna love this. So the order was fruit, and the elementals were starfruit, a guava, and a kumquat. And the hero, smoothie.
Okay, bit of a health buff.
I think that's fabulous. Do you know what? If you did that order and you put that as a Facebook game, everybody'd be addicted to that.
Oh yeah,
so congratulations, Raquel Penguin. You're getting a 2-player starter bundle with 2 starter decks, 2 super booster sets containing 5 boosters in each
and
pack.
you get to pick the orders that you're wanting to have for each of the starter decks.
Okay, so claim a prize up in the corner there. You'll see the contact menu. Go to claim a prize and tell Justin what you're after, and Justin will take care of you.
I'll do my best.
Right, this week's competition.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
In the spirit of Mythos, it got us into the mood of horror. Okay? And we wanted to... We'd come up with the idea of a horror short story, but we thought, no, that's too easy.
Yeah.
We're going to challenge you even further. So we have a really fun one this week.
Wikipedia, brace yourself.
We've got 2 winners. 2 winners are going to be picked. Okay? You can enter this on Beasts of War, or on Facebook, or on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay? If you enter all 3, you triple your chances. Okay? Each winner is going to receive a 2-player starter bundle, where you get to pick 2 starter factions and 2 rule books, so you and a mate can get into a game.
Yeah.
So there's going to be 4 very happy people out there by the end of this.
Yes.
Lots of jammy dances.
We want you to create a horror haiku. Okay? Now, you'll enter with your horror haiku. We will be picking a winner at random from those that enter a horror haiku. Now, for any of you wondering what a haiku is, Sam, take it away.
Well, a haiku is a form of Japanese micro-poetry.
Yes.
Usually consisting of 3 lines, and they follow a very set syllable structure.
Okay.
Usually 5, 7, 5.
Okay.
Okay. They started out in about the 17th century as they were supposed to be the opening stanza for these long poems that they would make in collaboration. So one person would write one verse, pass it on, next person write the next verse. I when I was looking up about haiku for this, because I've forgotten a lot since university.
Yeah.
I actually found out that the guy who elevated the whole thing was this guy called Matsuo Basho, who came from a
Basho.
Yeah, he came from a village I visited. I had no idea. I'd seen his pagoda that was set up in memory of him. I just went, oh, that's pretty. I had no idea. I've seen this guy.
That was the master of the haiku right there.
At the Iga Ninja Village.
At the Iga Ninja Village.
Wait, you went to visit a ninja village?
I went to
hear about
Ninja
this.
Village.
So it follows a pattern. 575. It's not 573. It's 575.
It has to be short number of syllables.
Yep.
2 syllables longer, short number of syllables, and the first and last sentence match.
Do you want to give us an example?
Oh, you put me on the spot now. I can't think of anything.
So 5 syllables, right? So I'm going to have a go at this. Okay.
Yeah.
Justin is 2 syllables. Yes.
Yes, Justin.
Okay. So Justin has a beard.
Yes.
I've got to get the horror element in now. The beard attacked my face.
One more.
A lot. The beard attacked my face.
Ouch.
Ouch. Oh God. I beard. There's a challenge to this. So all you need to know right now is none of us are going to win.
No. Trust me, I've been trying to think of a haiku since they mentioned it. I can't come up with one at all.
That's been about 7.5 hours, man.
I am at this.
Okay, get your horror haikus in.
Either.
Yeah, horror haikus, get them in on beastsofwar.com, on this video on YouTube, and the corresponding post we have over on Facebook.
I'm looking forward to these.
Maybe by the end of the week, Justin will have his own haiku or a part of one.
Please.
For next weekender, right? For next weekender, you have to have a haiku for next weekend.
And if I don't, what's the penalty?
There's no penalty, man.
Come on.
There's no penalty. The penalty is you have to have a haiku.
Okay. Fine, I tell you what, I'm going to be sneaky. I'm going to just go out and find a really famous one and plagiarize.
No, because we will know if you've made it up, man.
Yeah?
We will know if it's yours. Believe me, the whole internet now knows you. We will all know if you've made it up, man. So tune in next week for Justin's haiku, and it's going to be amazing. I can imagine it already.
I'm expecting to walk into the office tomorrow to just find him with a notepad and reams of bunched up paper.
Yeah. It'll be. You walk in, it'll be like some serial killers with parts of haiku plastered all over the walls, and him sitting in the middle of the room going.
It'll just look like The Shining.
I didn't know you'd been there when I wrote my dissertation.
I see. I have eyes everywhere. Look, thank you so much for watching. Get your haikus in. Horror haikus. Can you give us a horror short story in 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables? Right. Thank you to Ben. It's always a pleasure. Thank you to Justin. Thank you to Sam. Remember, tomorrow morning, we are on beastsofwar.com with XLBS, where we're going to chillax. We've got some more gaming talk. We've got some funny stories to tell you. So come on over. We also are giving away to a backstager a Typhon pledge of Mythic Battles. Mm-hmm. So why not come across? We've got a great multi-part challenge going on for that at the moment. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning a Typhon pledge, which is the enormous pledge, the man-high pledge of Mythic Battles.
Of gaming goodness.
Come on over and join backstage and join us behind the scenes in XLBS. Thank you for watching. Have a great gaming week. Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now, and be sure to check out beastsofwar.com for the latest gaming news and gaming Let's Plays. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.